We have had one heck of a start to this season here for the TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association. And tonight we come to round 4 here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway for what is set to be another instant classic race. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Alongside me in the booth tonight is going to be Tony Trapasso. And Tony, we've had a wild finish, controversial finish. What are we going to see here tonight?
Knowing these guys, we're probably going to go 4 for 4 with fireworks, at least on the final lap. I'm excited to see how Homestead-Miami plays out, because this is one of those tracks where, you've got 3 lanes that you can race all night long. You've got side-by-side racing all night long, and these guys always put on a good show. I'm excited, especially considering that I see some new faces in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, there are a couple of new faces, and 2 faces that we were, one we were not expecting to be here this week, and another that we were expecting to be here this week. Going back to that controversial finish last week, Eric Holly has decided to suspend Ryan Jones for this race, so the number 7 will not be here tonight after what took place going into turn 3 on the final lap at Milwaukee. Now, some would say that's hard racing, it's a bump and run, it's what racing was built on. But we've looked at the replay, we've looked at it off air from both cars at multiple angles. There's a difference between nudging someone out of the way and using them as a brake, and I think Ryan Jones crossed that line last week.
Yeah, I mean, if now, unfortunately, we weren't able to do it on the broadcast, but I went back and looked, and you look at the 3 previous laps, and he was hitting the braking zone just about the same time as everybody else was. He went into turn 3 last week from second place at 45 miles an hour faster than anybody else even attempted to go into turn 3, knowing that there was going to be contact, knowing that he could use Jeff Pogo as an ARCA brake victim. And for those of you not familiar with that, just Google it and you'll get
ARCA Brake Weekly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's actually in the Urban Dictionary of what an ARCA brake is, and that's where you use the truck in front of you to slow your truck down because you just don't feel like touching your brake pedal. And Eric Jones he didn't even attempt to touch the brake pedal. Yeah, it just full send it, full tilt boogie, and close your eyes and squint.
So, and because of that, and because Ryan Jones did cross that line last week, he will not be participating. Jeff Pogo is not here either, but he did say during his post-race interview at Milwaukee last week that he was going to be on vacation this week, so he was not going to be here either way here tonight. So as we get set to go into qualifying, let's take a quick look at the standings as these guys get ready to go. A very tight-knit group, as you would expect at the beginning of the season. Scott Tompkins currently atop the point standings, but it is Evan Pienta just a mere 3 points behind him, 196 to 193. Chase Barry has a little bit of a leeway, but after that, from Jeff Price all the way down to Daniel Dill just inside the top 10, it's a close battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you take a look at Jeff Price in 4th at 178 points, Dan Dill 174. So only a 4-point spread between 4th through 10th. And one name that's in there that is definitely not going to gain points tonight is going to be the number 7 Tundra of Ryan Jones.
Yeah, he certainly will not be. As we take a look at the final drivers I'm not sure why the overlay is acting up here tonight, as we are in the qualifying session here at the moment. As we'll take a look and try to see who is on track and furthest along on these qualifying laps. It appears as though Brandon Ayers is just starting his first lap. And you're gonna see these guys take the inside line during qualifying, but that progressive banking around here is really going to make it to where this race is going to be spent mostly on the high side of the racetrack. But really, you can get this truck to work anywhere on the track here at Homestead.
Yeah, that's the beauty of when they redesigned this track and did the rebank and repave. You can run 3 wide all night long here, and with the new aero package that these guys are running, it's going to be similar to how the Cup cars have been running, and you've heard different real world Cup drivers say that with the new aero package, you can actually feel the aero bubble around the truck when you're running that high line and rim riding, if you will, near the outside wall. So you can carry so much more speed because that aero bubble is there to help keep you off the safer barriers, and you can carry just a ton of forward momentum down the straightaways.
As we take a look at Scott Tompkins crossing the line, we saw Jeff Price in the 6th position. Tompkins will stay in his spot. Stephen Holmes right now in the number 11 spot, looking to put a good time down here in qualifying on his second lap. He is better than his first lap. We'll see what he does here. Up into the 9th position for Stephen Holmes, and immediately bumped down to 10th, as I believe it was Robert Dudley who had crossed the line and beat him out. Evan Pienta goes spinning and hitting the wall hard coming out of turn 4. So that's his second lap gone and wasted.
These guys seem to be having a little bit of problems going through on the exit of 4. And that a lot of that has to do with the fact that the sun has just been beating on that end of the track all day long. Relatively cool temperatures for Homestead-Miami. 78-degree track or ambient air temperature, only 81-degree track temperature right now as the sun is setting.
Yep, and as the sun is setting, Jordan Smith is getting incredibly quick, fastest of all here tonight in this qualifying session so far. There is Eric Holly. Tommy Cannon looking to finish his first lap. Lee Norton in the number 85 has just finished his first lap. He'll jump up into the 19th position as we look back at Cannon, who is finishing his first lap. We'll see where that puts him. P18 for Tommy Cannon. We still have a couple of guys who have not qualified. Dustin Lamb, Jared Hagedorn, Justin Winters is on track in the number 52. Used one of his provisionals last week. Nicholas Lamb, Zach Calloway, Cody Levitt, Mike Mock, and Joe Morganti, series newcomer, has not qualified. He is out on his first lap, though, as Cannon will cross the line as Lee Norton goes up to 4th. Tommy Cannon will make a jump. He'll go up into the 17th position as we take a look at Justin Winters in the number 52. Winters crossing the line. That will be P21 for Winters. Morganti crosses the line as well, newly minted number 53, up into P20.
Now, here's the thing to keep in mind with Morganti. Now, we have seen him before in other series on the ESPN family of broadcasts, and every time he's made a series debut, he's put it on the podium. Well, so don't let that qualifying attempt fool you. That Morganti knows how to race.
Yeah, but he came out a little late, so he will not be able to complete his second lap as we get set to go here for tonight's race. Round number 4, we will go to the grid for tonight's race. Starting on the pole, it'll be Jordan Smith in the number 24 with a time of a 33.276. Jason Ayerson in the 54 comes up 1/10 short. He will make out row number 1. Randy Bechtel, one of the dominant cars last week at Milwaukee, will sit in 3rd position with Lee Norton in right next to him in P4 to close out row number 2. Row 3 is Brandon Ayers and Scott Tompkins, the championship points leader. Row 4 will go to Chase Barry and Ellis Thomas. Robert Dudley and Scott Stotler will make up row number 5. Chris Smith and Jeff Price to make up row number 6. Stephen Holmes and Wes Whitfield will sit in row number 7, with row 8 going to Dale Elin Jr. and Johnny Rapp.
Tommy Cannon and Eric Holly going to start off in row 9. Row 10 goes to Anthony Reynolds and Joe Morganti. Mike Mraz and Justin Winter is going to roll off in row 11, with row 12 going to Evan Pienta and Chandler Summers. Larry Poling and Jason Young going to roll off in row 13. Young was the last one to post a time in qualifying. Cody Levitt and Zach Calloway going to roll off in row 14, with row 15 seeing Jared Hagedorn and Nick Lamb. Dustin Lamb going to roll off in 31st, and Mike March starting shotgun on the field all by his lonesome in 32nd starting position.
And for the first time this season, Nicholas Lamb and Dustin Lamb do not start on the same row.
It's because neither one of them posted a clean time in qualifying.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, if one more person did and started ahead of them, they still would have, based off of their I rating.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, that's something to kind of be proud of there between those two. Is they started the first 3 races of this season side by side. So, if you can't trust family, who can you trust?
Absolutely. As Tony was mentioning during the qualifying session, it is a little cool here tonight. 81 degree track temperature, only 78 degree ambient temperature as we get into this night. Tony, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an entertaining night at Homestead, with the ability to run multi-groove again here in this car. It's going to be incredibly fun to watch tonight.
Absolutely, and as that sun continues to set, the track temperature is going to continue to drop, and the grip level is going to go through the roof.
It certainly will. As the cars head out of turns 3 and 4, we are getting set to go. Pace car is off for the first time here tonight. The drivers head on down. 134 laps from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. We're green.
And Zach Calloway has had connection issues, and Mike Marks
the 80s around. Ellis Thomas around on turn 1. Eric Holly getting into it. Jeff Price, I think, had some damage as well.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Cold tires early on in the run.
Cold tires, slick track, and Morganti ate the wall too, trying to avoid that piece. And yes, Eric Holly did catch a face full of race car.
Take a look at this right from the start here. 80 of Ellis Thomas going to be on the 4th car on the outside row. There he goes. Just gets into turn 1. And you can see that truck is upset going into turn 1. He never got that car settled down. Boy, the 5 did a great job of getting through. And Morganti, a little bit of a touch to the wall, but the 2 biggest pieces in that incident, both the 80 and the 8.
Yeah, the Oakley 8 of Eric Holly looks like it has seen better days.
There's the front end of that number 8 of Holly. Right on board with Eric. He'll take it down pit road using the access road. Now, I'm almost positive that is not a mandatory thing here tonight, but Lord knows we've been wrong before.
From the looks of it, no, it's not mandatory because...
what in the world happened to Nick Lamb? Sorry to cut you off there, but Nick Lamb is missing the entirety of his front end, and so is the 10 of Dustin Lamb. What happened to those two?
That's a good question. Let's go find out.
Go back here. This is the start of the race. They're both firmly in the back. Oh, Dustin Lamb never let off. It just ran over the back of Cody Levitt, and then I think Nick Lamb ran into the back of Jared Hagedorn. Let's see if we can ride on board with Dustin Lamb here, hopefully. Hopefully it's a thing we can do. Yeah, it's going to come in a little late. And yeah, the 10 ran over the back of the 2. Meanwhile, the 37 ran over the back of the 38.
Yep. And that was just one of them deals where you weren't really expecting all hell to break loose in turn 1 on lap 1. So, and from the looks of it, both the Lambs are having some connection issues right now, as both are showing 4-digit pings. So they may never have seen the accident happen.
They might not have. That's the only reason why they would have gone in as fast as they had gone into that. And we're looking at Cody Levitt because his sponsor tonight has a season on the line. And Cody, I don't know if you're listening to the broadcast while you're driving, but we might be kind enough to check in on that Golden Knights Canadiens game for you. Give you some score updates, or yell at us that you're recording it in the chat, and we'll we won't tell you. I know I almost had a heart attack last night.
Last night?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Islanders down 2-0, and came back. Beauvillier scored in the first minute and a half of overtime. That's how you go to Game 7.
Yeah, it ties the series at 3-3. So that's good on the Islanders for being able to do that, especially considering that Monday night they.
We don't talk about Monday. Monday doesn't happen. we don't talk about Monday. There were a lot of bad things that happened all at the same time on Monday night. We don't want to talk about any of them.
Oh, why not?
Well, I mean, you go back and watch the Rowdy Energy race from Monday night.
There you go.
Right as that's going on, my Islanders are getting smacked around just about as much as I was.
Yeah, they got treated like a redheaded stepchild at that point. But meanwhile, lights are out on the Tesla pace car, as Jordan Smith going to have the button one more time. We're going to rack him, stack him, and fire him off again as the field working its way through the 3-4 complex. Pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn. There it goes. And here we go. Green flag in the air. Smith pulls the trigger and brings Lee Norton with him as we are back underway.
Norton got a very, very good restart there in that number 85, battling with Randy Bechtel in the 51 now, as Bechtel led 101 laps, had the most laps led at Milwaukee last week, but the contact with him and Jeff Pogo really highlighted it was a difficult racetrack to pass on last week. That is not going to be the case here. A lot of wide open room, multiple grooves, and the 16 of Brandon Ayers already working those grooves out.
As Norton has to chase it down the track a little bit, and it's going to let Bechtel get to his outside going into 1 and 2 side by side. And you can see the help there that progressive banking here at Homestead-Miami does, as Bechtel, with a head of steam down the back straightaway, rips the number 2 spot away from Norton, as Norton falling back, and here comes Ayers.
Side-by-side racing. That is Brandon Ayers on the inside in the 16, Jason Ayerson on the outside in the 54, as somebody chasing the car down the track. That's the 49 of Robert Dudley having a moment coming out of turn 4. And Tony, you had brought that up. A lot of guys having issues down out of turn 4 in practice and during qualifying.
Well, it's the part of the track where the sun has just been beating down on all day long. So from noon on, the track has just been getting heated up and heated up and heated up more. And it's still the slickest part of the racetrack. And if you're not prepared for that slickness to happen when you go to roll the power back on, it'll come back to bite you. As right now, Scotty Tompkins trying to make some moves right now down low.
Yep, Scott Tompkins working down low.
Into the wall.
Yep, that's 16 of Ayerson in the wall. Almost caught it coming out of turn 4 last time around. Did catch it in 1 and 2 here, and that's the risky run. Running on the outside is Jason Ayer's son. Working on the inside of Lee Norton in the 85 with the championship leader Scott Tompkins behind him, well, behind the pair of them, trying to work that Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford F-150 up into this battle. Currently sitting in 5th.
So Tompkins just kind of riding right now, trying to figure out what's going to happen in front of him. He's letting those guys battle it out, letting them burn their stuff up. As meanwhile, Jordan Smith right now with a 5 truck length lead over Randy Bechtel.
And this is what we talked about last season as we look a little bit further back. That is Scott Stotler in the 5, the 16 of Brandon Ayers, and Johnny Rapp in the 76 on the outside. Joe Morganti in the 53 in this battle as well. This is back for 10th position. As you see, a lot of guys take to that outside around here. Stotler moving right up after taking the inside line last time around.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to what we were talking about during qualifying. You can feel the aero bubble around this truck as you get close to that outside lane.
Oh, contact up at the front. That's the 54 and the 1. As Ayerson hard into the wall on the inside. Caution does not come out for the 54. And we will stay green.
That's weird that the simulator didn't throw the caution there, but meanwhile, they're 3 wide up in front of them as the 81 of Chris Smith was trying to make some headway as Stotler and Rapp were getting into it. The 81 way off the pace now, and he's going pit side.
Yeah, we saw on the replay there that 81 got caught, and you can see the damage on the right front of that number 81 Valvoline Chevrolet. That is from Ayerson coming down and spinning down the racetrack, coming off of 4, and that was Chase Barry thinking he had a heck of a lot more room than he actually did.
Yeah, it's a shame to see that as Jeff Price has decided to put it on the hauler.
Price, a part of that first lap incident that brought out the one and only caution we have had so far here in the 14 laps out of 134 that we have run. Now, we've talked about it a lot at the beginning of this season, most specifically at Kentucky. There were 2 guys last season that had very, very good race cars, but just could not keep the tires under them long enough to be able to sustain a run. The guy who's out in front right now, Jordan Smith, is one of them. The other one is Evan Pienta. Pienta started back at the 23rd position after spinning out on his second lap of qualifying. He is up 12 spots into 11th, looking to get past Dale Elan Jr. in the 6th to get him up into the top 10 in the first 15 laps.
So good run for the 00 going on right now as he's working the 6 of Dale Elan Jr. And don't look now, but here comes Johnny Rapp in the 76. We saw him have a really good run in week 2 and just kind of had one stolen from him as he's working his way to come up towards the top 10.
And so is Scott Stotler in that Hendrick Cars number 5 on the outside lane. That car finishing 2nd back at Daytona in the opener. Really hasn't been much of anywhere since then. Having a nice run, just borderline top 10 right now. Getting around Johnny Rapp in the 76. Also Robert Dudley there as well in the number 49 on the inside, trying to follow Stotler through on some of these guys.
Yeah, we saw Dudley have a little bit of trouble coming through 4, so he's on a recovery drive right now in that ALS Mercury number 49 Toyota Tundra, as starting to make some headway on the inside lane, getting still has some good rubber left on those tires as we're only working lap 17 of 134. So that inside lane still working for some of the guys. Most everybody is running that 3rd lane rim riding right now.
Look at Johnny Rapp weaving, trying to get a lane around and trying to get a run around Scott Stotler. Tries to look to that inside just as Stotler did to him, and just cannot quite get the run off of turn 4 up towards the front. Lee Norton trying to hold off the number 9 of Stephen Holmes while simultaneously trying to attack the 1 of Chase Barry, who surprisingly doesn't have a lot of damage on the right side of that car. There's a little bit on the rear, but nothing much came of that big contact that he had with the 54.
Yeah, it was more just a bump coming off of turn 4. It wasn't hard contact, but it was enough to send the 54 around. As don't look now, but Tickle Zombie, number 9 of Stephen Holmes, starting to make some headways. Wow, that was a big wiggle out of the 85 and Norton coming through 1 and 2.
Yep, we were riding on board with the 1 there. Just look at how close he got. Oh, well, we just saw the 1. The whole right side is shaved off of that KBS number 1. And now Lee Norton will take over the position. As what's the term becoming here? Ventilation will not be a problem for the 1 the rest of the season.
True story is he's definitely not going to have to worry about cockpit temperatures as this race wears on into the night. As the lights are on here at Homestead-Miami, so you're going to start seeing the shadows on the trucks from the Armco lighting that they've got here. As that's an interesting.
Oh, that's the 6 of Elin in the wall. Yeah, he got in the wall and stayed in it, did the 6 of Elin. I think the 52 of Justin Winters has also had a problem behind him. Look at all the damage on the front of the 52.
Yeah, the 52 basically cheese grated the wall, as did Elin. Not quite as extreme as the 52, but Winters just completely cheese grated that truck.
Try to take a look here and see what happened with Eland.
Oh, that would be why. Take a look at the left rear of Elin. It looks like the 52 may have gotten into the left rear and sent him into the wall.
He wasn't with the 52. The 52 was around there, but he wasn't there quite yet. This is on replay here, trying to find Elin, and he just pushes up into the wall, and then, oh yeah, you're right, actually. The 52 came up the racetrack trying to exit off of 4 a little high to try to carry a run, and just didn't realize that the 6 had been in the wall.
Yeah, it just completely blasted him. But right now, Stephen Holmes just kind of riding right now, seeing what he's got in the Tickle Zombie number 9. As don't look now, but here comes the debutant of Joe Morganti, number 53, making some headway, already up in 7th from his 20th starting position.
Yep. Morganti up 13, Pienta up 14 here, as Brandon Ayers is going to take the position away in the 16, at least for the moment. That is Evan Pienta sitting right there behind those two, watching them do battle. As I think Morganti,
the wall going into 1.
So Joe Morganti pushes up a little too high, gets the wall. Nothing too bad. At least he still has the right side of his car.
And that's very easy to do on corner entry. The aero bubble that I was talking about doesn't really come into play until about mid-corner on. Basically from the middle of the corner through the exit, you can kind of feel that bubble start to form as you carry the speed, but it's very easy to pop the bubble going into the corner if you're not careful.
Absolutely, as we're looking at a guy who hasn't had too much play on the network so far. That is the 07, of Wesley Whitfield, having a very nice run of it for himself here, up into the 12th position, trying to keep that 12th position, with Tommy Cannon sitting right behind him. And you can see the variation in lines that all of these drivers are running. It's nice to be able to see multi-groove racing back again here in iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. as you could see Whitfield carry just so much more momentum on that outside lane, as looks like Morganti got into the wall one more time as Robert Dudley got around him. Scott Schottler had already gotten around him the previous lap, so definitely not the debut that he was hoping for the 53.
He certainly did get in the wall again, and look who else has joined this battle. It's the 94 of Mike Mraz in that green Giant Chevy Silverado on the inside there. Mraz started back in 21st. He's up into the 15th spot, is the number 94, doing a very solid job thus far here tonight. Tommy Cannon also on that outside trying to take that position away from the 07 of Wesley Whitfield. Has it for the moment and now has him cleared. It's going to be Johnny Rapp's turn now to try to get back around him.
And just like that, Whitfield throws it to the down towards the apron as Rapp able to carry so much more momentum on that outside lane, almost getting into Mraz on the corner exit, heads up driving by the 94 as you got Chandler Summers, or no, I'm sorry, that's the 38 right behind him. Chandler Summers way back off this battle. But looking right now, no score update, no score yet at the 14-minute mark of period 1.
What's the score of the game? Well, there's not one. It's basically what we could say for Cody.
You're not
Levitt
missing
right
anything
now.
yet.
Yeah. Started at 27th. Did Levitt up into the 15th position. Battle inside the top 10 now as Brandon Ayers trying to make his way around Stephen Holmes. Evan Pienta doing the same. They're 3 abreast going into turn 3, and it's going to be Evan Pienta picking both of them off.
I think Ayers may have lifted going into 3, knowing that Pienta was going to be there, and then got back on it, or was able to get back on it early and carry a little bit more momentum coming off the corner as he's side by side with Holmes. Holmes was almost making contact going into 1, trying to get into clean air as Pienta took the high line, as Holmes took the middle lane to try to get the front splitter into some clean air.
Absolutely. Scott Tompkins has taken over the second position from Randy Bechtel. So the championship points leader right now, putting a lot of pressure on the guys up in the top 2, has passed one of them. And boy, Randy Bechtel incredibly close down the straightaway. Now trying to see if he can make that outside line work. But it looks as though the inside line has a little bit more dominance even this late in the run.
Yeah, absolutely. But they still have a big uphill battle to get to the back of the 24, Jordan Smith, as we are getting ready to put 31 in the books. Smith, Tompkins, Bechtel, your top 3. Lee Norton, Chase Berry rounding out your top 5. As right now, Scotty Tompkins on a run, trying to make some headway. He's already gained a few positions, started 6th, currently sits in 2nd, but the big mover of the race, Evan Pienta, started 23rd, currently holding down the number 6 slot.
Up 17 positions, about to be up 18 if he can get around the 1 of Chase Barry here. And boy, he's certainly putting a move on, trying to get around that 1. He's going to look to the outside. Cody Levitt up into the 11th position now in that number 38. Now Levitt did come into pit to fix damage under that first pit stop, but that's a pretty negligible advantage since he came in on lap 2. No laps on the tires at all for any of these guys, so any advantage from coming into pit really non-existent, as now Evan Pienta takes that 00. And as we mentioned, the 2 guys that had the most difficulty last season keeping the tires on the truck, 1 and 5 going into lap 34.
And Justin Winters just had a connection drop, so not the night he was hoping for, as Jason Arison has put it on the hauler as well.
Not surprising with how hard a hit that Ayerson in the 54 took earlier on here tonight. Robert Dudley trying to get around Stephen Holmes. This for the 8th position, and Dudley starting to work his way back up through the field after that little misstep at the beginning of this green flag run through turn number 4. starting to move up now. Another guy moving up. Scott Stotler started in 10th. He fell back a little bit, back up into the 10th position. Now trying to work and get around that number 9 of Stephen Holmes, who we're talking about Jordan Smith and Evan Pienta running the tires off the truck. The 9 appears to have done just that.
Yeah, absolutely. But can we talk about the 49 of Robert Dudley for a second?
Absolutely not.
See how you are?
Go ahead.
If you'll notice on the tailgate of that truck, and I think we can get one of the high-speed drones to show it, Robert is racing in memory of his late sister, Penny Dudley, who unfortunately succumbed to the to ALS. I believe it was about 2 years ago now. And, he races in her honor, and he has ALS on that truck. And if anybody would like to donate and know more about ALS, you can go to www.als.org to find out how you can donate and how you can help fight. It's generally colloquially termed as Lou Gehrig's disease, and it's a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects the brain cells, the spinal cord, and the synapses that fire the muscles throughout the body. So if you want to know more about ALS and how you can help fight that disease, www.als.org.
So there we go. We'll flash there it is. Down at the bottom of the screen there, and he's taken that ALS number 49 right around Brandon Ayers in the 16. Chase Barry will be the next victim for Robert Dudley. As we work lap 38, just the one caution here tonight, and that was for the incident involving the 80 of Ellis Thomas. Jeff Price, Eric Holly involved in that also. Those guys are no longer participating in this race. Right now, we have, seven drivers, of the 32 that started here, no longer participating. Justin Winters, the most recent, Jason Ayers' son, Ellis Thomas, Jeff Price, Eric Holly, Dustin Lamb, and Zach Calloway did not make the call for the start here tonight. So 6 retirements and 1 did not start as we watch Dudley try to make a move on Chase Barry here. Just can't quite get it done. Barry's got a nice little run on that outside, but Brandon Ayers starting to really pull through on that inside, helping get Robert Dudley around that number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of aero help from the 16 on the 49 as the 1 of Chase Barry starting to struggle on that outside lane. Now, I got to think we're getting close to the first set of green flag pit stops, and something to keep in mind with these guys tonight, they've got 4 total sets. So the set they qualified on, which is the set they started the race on, and then they can change 3 total sets throughout the night as we're getting ready to put 40 in the books. Jordan Smith continuing to show the way, starting to stretch a lead over points leader Scotty Tompkins. And Tompkins has a decent lead right now over the 51 of Randy Bechtel.
Yep, Tompkins has gotten out to a 1.1 second lead over Randy Bechtel. Jordan Smith has been holding pretty steady with this lead. Had a couple of poor laps a couple of laps ago, but when he is slower than Tompkins, it's only by about a half a tenth of a second. And he's been faster by 1.1, 1.4, and now 2/10 of a second. Pardon me, 0.11, 0.14, and 0.2 seconds quicker over these last 2 laps. That number 24 really cooking. The 25 staying pinned right behind him, though, not losing too much. And Randy Bechtel, even distance between the 3.
And the thing to keep in mind, too, is between their fast lap of the race so far and the current laps of the race, there's about a 2-second fall off in the tires after 40 laps. So that's going to be something to be mindful of, is who's going to be the first one to blink, to bring it down pit road, get 4 fresh Mr. Feel Goods and a fresh tank and go fast, and try to get the undercut, as we've seen it work so well, as Pienta gets into the wall and Dudley gets by him coming off the 2.
Yep, Pienta pushing a little too hard there as Dudley goes around him. That promotes the number 49 into the 5th position. Now he's got about 6 seconds to make up to get to this man, Lee Norton. But that is a big one for Evan Pienta, especially, who's had such a good run. That damage on the right side is not going to do nice things to his number 00 Ford F-150.
Absolutely. He's got another one of the right side ragtags right behind him. That's the 16 of Brandon Ayers, who ate the wall earlier, and cheese grated the right side of that truck. So Ayers looking pretty strong right now, even with all the damage on the number 16.
One guy who has certainly started to fall back is Chase Barry. He's gotten passed now by Scott Stotler, that for the 8th position. So Stotler in the 5, having his best run since the season opener at Daytona. A nice little run for him, and with how good the 5 has been doing in the Cup Series in real life, you know, maybe that 5 luck and 5 magic is starting to spread on over.
Better go with that thought. As Cody
what
Levitt in the
Stotler's hoping, at
38, 38, and Cody Levitt able to get by Stephen Holmes, as he had a big moment coming off of 4 about a lap and a half ago. Right now, Holmes trying to do a recovery run to get back into the top 10. As just as a heads up, Cody, in case you are listening, 0-0 at the 10-minute mark.
So we're keeping you up to date, and the reason why that's so important is because this is Canadians win. They're the first team to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final. If Vegas wins, they force a Game 7, just the same way the Islanders did. Jordan Smith, the first one to peel off into pit road. Evan Pienta to follow. A little bit more. Levitt also with a big slide going in. But it's interesting. The race leader, who's done so well conserving his tires tonight, is the first one to peel off.
First one to call no mas as he hits his pit stall and right sides go up. I would assume he's going to take all 4. As, yep, there go the left sides on, as Pienta in as well, Cody Levitt in, Tommy Cannon in. So definitely some different pit strategies starting to play out, as right now nobody wants to be the cause of the yellow flag, as everybody's struggling right now. And keep your eye on Jordan Smith, as he's got the freshest tires on track right now, and we were looking at about a 2-second per lap fall off as he flashes by Lee Norton, and that's the 51 of Randy Bechtel right in front of him. So Tompkins probably going to get his lap back the hard way as he goes 1 lap down for the pit stop.
Smith getting his lap back the hard way. Lee Norton in, Robert Dudley in. We saw Scott Stotler, Stephen Holmes, Dale Elan, Chandler Summers, Jared Hagedorn all come into pit road there. And this is really, I'm surprised that these guys would be staying out as long as they are. Best lap of the race for Scott Tompkins was a 33.75. He just ran a 35.85, and now Tompkins and Bechtel come in after about 4 extra laps. Now that'll help them in the long run, but right now they have put themselves way behind that 24, who's been flying on these new tires, has gotten them up to temperature. Now they're just getting off the old ones.
Yeah, absolutely. As Ayers was able to get his lap back before Tompkins hit pit road. So Jordan Smith just, whoa!
I guess Whitfield on pit entry?
Yes. That almost ended poorly for Jordan Smith as he almost ran him over.
Trying to take a look here and see, and I don't think iRacing did not play nice, unfortunately. So there is Whitfield. Chase Barry comes into pit road from 2nd. Joe Morganti in from 3rd. Brandon Ayers has not come into pit at all here tonight just yet. Jason Young in the 29, currently running in the second position. He came into pit on lap 3, so again a negligible advantage for the number 29, and now the 24, currently holding a 4.5 second lead over Scott Tompkins. So coming in 4 laps later has cost both Tompkins and Bechtel about 3.5 seconds.
And that's better than I was hoping it was going to be, because, and that has to do a lot with Jordan Smith having to check up 2 laps ago to stay off of, yeah, he did.
And even just that.
Off of Wetfield. So, it should have been a 2 second per lap advantage, not including the in lap and the out lap. So the fact that Jordan Smith has only a 3 second advantage over Scott Tompkins is nothing short of miraculous.
And Lee Norton had come in about 3.5 seconds behind Randy Bechtel. He is now 0.7 of a second behind Randy Bechtel, only having come in 1 lap earlier. Brandon Ayers still has not come into pit. Now he's coming into pit in the 16, really looking for that long run play, as hits the commitment cone on the way in. Jason Young, he has
hit
been
the wall in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yep, he has been passed by Jordan Smith, and another close one. That's with Mike Mraz. 29 coming into pit for the second time tonight. And that will officially promote Jordan Smith back to the race lead. And with all of that confusion, what in the world has happened to Scott Tompkins? He's back into pit road. That's not a penalty for Tompkins. He's pulled that truck in a... I don't think that's his pit box, is it? No. Oh, no, it is. Never mind. It is. See what happened with Tompkins that forces him to come into pit. I think he just comes into pit road here. Unless he had a speeding on exit penalty, possibly.
That's what I'm going to go check right now.
Because Tompkins is just now leaving his box. No, it was only a 15-second stop. So that would not have been...
He was under the pit road speed limit by the time he hit the cone, so I'm no idea why he went back down pit road unless, I don't know.
Maybe a loose wheel, perhaps.
Sure, why not? We've seen stranger things happen in the iRacing servers.
We've seen stranger things happen at this track.
Well, the thing is now that he's no longer between the two of them, that now gives Jordan Smith a 6.8 second lead over your second place, Randy Bechtel, who is less than a second to the good over the 85 of Lee Norton, and we know Norton is very strong on new tires.
We got a case of good news and bad news right now for Cody Levitt. The good news is through the pit stops, he's now up to 6th as he gets passed.
Crap.
He's also the biggest mover of the race, and unfortunately, Shea Weber at the 14:06 mark has put Montreal up 1-0. So a little case of good news, bad news for Levitt. He'll be happy that he's battling for the top 5, but I'm sure he'll be less than entertained with the fact that Weber has put Montreal up.
Well, I could say this wholeheartedly. My 2 favorite hockey teams are the Buffalo Sabres and anybody that beats the Habs.
I thought it was Buffalo and Toronto that had the big beef.
Normally it is.
Well, I know it's Boston, Toronto. I know that for certain.
Everybody hates Boston.
Well, fair.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Anybody outside of New England hates Boston. But yeah, no, Buffalo. Yes, we've got a big beef with the with Toronto, only because most of their fans will cross the border and treat it like a home game, except for this past season, which they weren't allowed to. Thank goodness. And they always give us beef every time they come to a Buffalo game about not having all-dressed chips down here. And don't ask me what all-dressed chips are, because I have no idea.
I wasn't going to, but what I was going to say is they weren't down for long. Riley Smith with the tip in, assist to Shea Theodore and William Carlson. 1-1-5-0-6 left in the first. So
Nice.
now we look back up to the front here. Jordan Smith currently holding a 6-second lead. Now, Tony, when you said last time we left these two, it was a 6.8-second lead. Jordan Smith not really running too much slower than Randy Bechtel, just a tenth between them the last time around. We'll see what it was this time by, as Bechtel has been gaining by about a solid tenth of a second per lap. This time only 0.02 of a second faster was the 51. But Randy Bechtel slowly but surely catching up to that number 24. And I think the reason why it just reared its ugly head, there's a lot of traffic between the 24 and the 51 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jordan Smith had to pick his way through a minefield of lap trucks, as right now Wes Whitfield in the 07 is being scored as the last truck on the lead lap. Jared Hagedorn, Mike Moroz, Scotty Tompkins, Anthony Reynolds, and Larry Poling and Jason Young all being shown as one lap or more down, as something just happened to the 29 of Young.
Yep, that is the 29 of Young. You're right. Down on the apron there in turn one, expecting a spin coming out of 4 would be my assumption.
Yep.
Show him entering pit lane, but I don't think that was the case there. No,
he was just using the access road.
Yep, that's with him taking the access road. So spin coming off of turn 4 for the 29. Go back to the battle we were looking at when that happened. The 15 of Chandler Summers, also having his best race since his win at Daytona. Now running in the 11th position, up 13 spots from where he started tonight after getting around Johnny Rapp just a moment ago. So that number 15 having a very solid night here this evening.
Sorry, I was just trying to figure out what the heck just happened to the 24.
I think it might have just been lap traffic has gotten him crossed up a little bit, I think. Didn't lose too much time, only lost a couple of, there it is. Only lost a couple tenths there that previous lap. And now he's got Wesley Whitfield right in front of him.
Whitfield peels off to take the low lane to give Smith the preferred upper lane, as Smith now goes back down to the low side, try to get some momentum, to try to get some gap formed back up between himself and Randy Bechtel, as right now the closest battle on track is right around the one of Chase Berry, as he's got his rearview mirrors filled with the tickled zombie number 9 of Stephen Holmes.
Yep, we were watching that. Is over right in front of them. 29 goes around again, or takes a slide through turn 4 again. So the 29 of Young has certainly not had a good run over these last couple of laps, as he's trying to find anything to help that number 29 right now.
Not the night he was hoping for, that's for sure, as he's had nothing but problems coming through turn 4. But Stotler right now closing in on the 38 of Cody Levitt as they haul it off into turn number 1. And I believe Levitt had just gotten by Stotler about a lap earlier. as he's starting to pull some distance right now. Is Cody Levitt up into the number 6 slot.
Yep, that is the case right now, as I think Jordan Smith might, or that's just my timing and scoring. I apologize. So still a close battle up at the front. Jordan Smith losing ground to Randy Bechtel. That lead cut down to just under 5 seconds. Working lap number 68 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association right here on ESPN. Don't go anywhere. Caution has fallen over the Homestead-Miami Speedway here as caution flag pit stops getting set to go here for the first time tonight. The 24 of Jordan Smith will lead them down, and unfortunately for him, that 5-second lead that he had has now evaporated as the 85 looked to have overshot his pit stall just a little bit.
Yeah, just a tick there. But go ahead.
You'll see the race off pit road. There goes the 24. Randy Bechtel now down and away as well. Robert Dudley putting the spin on him coming out. Evan Pienta back up into the top 5 after his earlier adventures. Now to the cause of the caution, that would be once again the 29 of Jason Young. Goes to take the inner access road that leads into the road course and is stopped on track. iRacing took that as him being stopped in pit exit, so they threw the caution flag.
Yeah, but they didn't throw the caution for the 2 times that he spun coming off before. But it is what it is.
Pit exit's a dangerous place, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know what else is a dangerous place?
What is dangerous?
My closet.
God.
And it has to do with my shirt showing absolutely no sign of life. But if you're like me, I'm going to go see Brian over at TickleZombie.com, and I'm going to choose from an ever-expanding selection of mindlessly quirky designs from the spur-of-the-moment ideas that they're quirky. Let's put it that way. But not only do they have shirts, but they've got hoodies, they've got hats, they've got mugs, they've got so much more. Look, if you're anything like me, there's no need to think about it. You go to TickleZombie.com, and it'll make even the undead take notice.
Even the undead?
Even the undead.
So I mean,
especially the unbet.
it's not a bad deal there. As Stephen Holmes taking the series sponsor along for the ride with him here tonight, as he has done, as he did at the end of last season in the Cup Series, and is doing once again here this season. Has not changed the skin on that Tickle Zombie number 9 machine. Get it? Skin?
I see what you did there.
Get it. There it is. Yeah, I suck. I know.
I don't want to see what you did there, but I do see what you did there.
Yeah, I know. I'm absolutely incredible. I am the pun master of ES. I'm just going to stop now.
So get your hate mail coming now, folks. It's Frank Marchese, care of ESPN Towers, Hollywood, California, P.O. Box OU812.
Well, there it is. So we're getting set to go back to green flag racing here. Jordan Smith with Randy Bechtel to his outside. Lee Norton will start from third. Evan Pienta back up into the top 5 after hitting the wall and losing ground. Has jumped up into the 4th position. And it will be Robert Dudley and Scott Stotler making up row number 3. Row 4 will go to Cody Levitt, and that would be Brandon Ayers. First period intermission, by the way, 1-1 is how that ends. We now get set to go back to green flag racing here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Pace car is off, leader's gone. Green flag is back in the air.
Absolutely. It's a great restart for Jordan Smith. Bechtel has to deal with Lee Norton now. As Norton full send-it mode going into 1, up into the number 2 slot. Wrestles it away from Randy Bechtel and sideways.
Yep, too much. Go for it. Too early on here in the tire life as he lights those rears up down into 10th and is fixing to lose a lot more here down into 11th position before he finally gets that truck sorted. As now Evan Pienta will put up the charge, and the 9 goes for a ride coming out of turn 4, is able to hold it as well.
That was a big move for those guys coming through turn 4, as they were 3 and 4 wide trying to avoid him. They're still 3 wide in front of him, though.
The 85 of Norton on the inside, Summers in the middle, Barry on the outside. Summers is going to fall to the back of this group. And the 1 with a little bit of contact. There goes the 85 of Lee Norton. He's going to save it again. Wow. What a save by Norton.
Chandler Summers chasing it down the track coming off of 4, but what a driving job by Lee Norton. He had that truck all crossed up coming through 3 and 4 and was able to not hit anything other than the 1 at Chase Berry, and they made contact going into 3.
Boy, we loose tonight here, aren't we, on this restart?
And that's surprising considering that the track temperature has already come down to a balmy 80 degrees from the 85 that we started this piece with. As right now, Evan Pienta is giving Randy Bechtel all he can handle up towards the front, and he's got Robert Dudley in tow.
Absolutely. So Bechtel, Pienta, Dudley right now battling for the 2nd position. Just behind them, Brandon Ayers has the 25 of Scott Tompkins to his inside. Now Tompkins finds himself right now as the first car not on the lead lap. So if the caution were to come out again, he would get the lucky dog and find himself on the lead lap. Took that 2nd pit stop not long after he took his first, which was the confusion there, and that has put him out of the lead lap position. Also, by the way, speaking of being put out, Eric Holly and Dustin Lamb have returned to the racetrack. Dustin Lamb and Holly, both in pit road for north of a half hour, have brought the number 8 and the number 10 back out on track, trying to get as many laps as possible. Joe Morganti done for the night in the 53 on his debut. Nicholas Lamb looks to be in a situation where he's still around the racetrack. And Jason Young, at least for the moment, no longer participating tonight. Chris Smith sitting in pit road fixing crash damage right now in the number 81. But right now, Jordan Smith has gotten out once again to that 1 second lead. He has led every single lap tonight that wasn't in the middle of a pit cycle. That number 24 has been on rails all night long, just the same way Bechtel's truck was last week at Milwaukee.
And you kind of expected it to be that way, as Smith has shown time and time again that he is a mile-and-a-half specialist, especially when it comes to multi-groove racing. And, he's been strong all season. He's just got caught up in other people's dumpster fires and has been on the back foot in the first 3 races of the season. But now he qualified out front, got the button at the start of this thing, and has just run away with it so far, as he's 6 truck lengths to the good over Bechtel, as Bechtel's still dealing with Pienta, as Robert Dudley just got passed by the 25 of Scotty Tompkins, as Tompkins looking to try to get his lap back the hard way.
Yeah, but he's doing a very good job of it, and these guys probably not fighting him too much, knowing that that is the case. And with the position that he's in right now, he's going to be getting his lap back either way, whether or not he gets it back the hard way or is given it by the lucky dog. But there is the battle right now for the 4th position between the 3rd position, between the 00 of Evan Pienta and Robert Dudley in the 49. Up the racetrack a little bit further back, however, Chase Barry, Stephen Holmes, and Chandler Summers having a discussion as to who is going to fill the 7th position.
Yeah, those guys in lockstep right now, all 3 of them running that outer lane to try to get the run down the back straightaway. Nobody really getting an advantage, as there goes Barry down to the inside. There goes the 15 of Summers down to the inside, as Chase Barry runs the 2nd lane, coming through 3 and 4. And you can see that Summers was able to get a little bit better drive off of 4 and close right in on the tailgate of Holmes.
Yep, they're also, all 3 of these guys are coming up to the 5 of Scott Stotler, currently running in the 6th position. It appears to be, I do like this, because it's showing what this racetrack is like in real life as well. One end of the racetrack, everybody's on the outside. Other end of the racetrack, it seems as though everybody's on the inside. True to form here is this multi-groove racing. We haven't seen it too much here this season with these guys, seeing as though they really haven't been to a racetrack that would provide multi-groove racing. We're seeing it now, and just the same way the season ended at Charlotte, great racing all night long tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We had one oops at the beginning of this thing on lap 1. We had a driver having cerebral flatulation to bring out the 2nd caution. And other than that, these guys have been clean and green all night long.
Take a look here as Robert Dudley catches up to the back end of Evan Pienta. Going into turn number 1, that number 49 of Dudley starting to make a move. And for the first time, I believe, in quite some time, I can't remember a point last season, but Robert Dudley trying to get into a podium position. So while these 2 are battling, this is why Chris Smith is in pit road right now and has been for quite some time. Going down, it looks like he may have just pulled off. Stops in the access road, and that's not a caution, but going down on the road course, however, is.
Well, it's because he was in the racing line. He actually had spun out. The 29, if that's what you're referring to, it spun out in what would have been the racing line of the road course, and the algorithm, even though they're not using the road course, still recognized it as being in the, quote, racing line, so it threw the caution.
There you go. As you see the 15 trying to get up into the 8th position, and Stephen Holmes trying to fight it. The 1 of Chase Barry looking at Scott Stotler right now. Stotler, much like Holmes, has been one of those guys that has stuck to the outside really no matter what end of the racetrack he's in or what position he's in. That 5 appears to be very, very comfortable running that outside as Chase Barry looks to the inside, but the 5 able to hold that momentum and get that run that slingshot, if you will, coming off the outside of the corner to hold that position.
Yeah, you can carry so much more momentum on the high side than you can on the low side. You basically, if this were a dirt track, we would call that inside lane the slider line, because you're basically going to have to just throw it into the corner and slide up in front of somebody to kill their momentum, as Barry does right there. You can see him gain a little bit going through 3 and 4 and gets this job done coming off of 4. Almost contact.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, Stadler let him have it at that point.
That's the only way you're going to be able to make that pass happen, is just full send it mode going into the corner and hope that the guy doesn't run you over on corner exit, because you're talking about a 5 mile an hour difference between the inside lane and the outside lane coming through 3 and 4.
See, just behind them, Chandler Summers and Stephen Holmes. Summers wins the debate. He takes over the 8th position, as that 5 of Stadler still working that outside line, trying to get Chase Barry back here, as we'll look back up towards the front, because we're looking a little bit different than we were last time we left these two. It was about a 1.1 second lead. It is now down to 0.6 of a second. Jordan Smith starting to fall back into the clutches of the 51, and the champion from last season, that is not a place you want to be.
Absolutely not. Smith may have gone a little too hard, a little too soon early on in the run, as about 0.5 tenth to the good for Randy Bechtel that last lap. Bechtel was actually the fastest truck on track that last lap.
Just goes to show how good that number 51 is, and certainly a deserving reigning defending series champion. This battle for the final spot on the podium is still not done. Evan Pienta trying to hold Robert Dudley off. He's gotten back around Dudley, as Dudley has to catch the truck coming off of turn 4 yet again. As again, a little bit further back, Stadler still trying to work on Chase Barry. And Stadler drove it in deep going into turn 1. Surprising that he did not end up in the wall there in that HendrickCars.com number 5. That's also allowing the 15 of Chandler Summers to start working his way up.
Yeah, he had a big moment going into 1, had to climb on the binders, and that let Summers reel him in, as Summers, taking a book out of Chase Barry's playbook, saw what Barry had to do to get by Stadler while he was battling with Stephen Holmes to get the number 8 spot. So Summers starting to make some headway in that 15.
It absolutely is. You look back up at the front, Jordan Smith has lost all of that ground to Randy Bechtel, and Bechtel now back up to the rear bumper for the first time since the restart. Randy Bechtel has caught the 24, and really for the first time tonight, Jordan Smith is in danger of genuinely losing his lead right now.
Yeah, absolutely. 2/10 to the good for Bechtel at last lap. It was almost 3/10 the previous lap. So rearview mirror, Jordan Smith just filled with the defending series champions truck, as Dudley side by side with Pienta through 3 and 4.
Yeah, but boy, that got close there. We've seen them go side by side down the back straightaway. I was just about to point out Scott Tompkins is looming there as well. But that 49 of Robert Dudley has looked very, very racy all night long, and is doing what he can to try to get around that 00 to get on the final step of the podium here as we near the century mark. A couple of great battles forming right up here in the top 5.
Absolutely, as there's racing throughout the field, but the battle right now is actually in the top 4. You've got the battle for the lead with Smith and Bechtel going ham on it. As Pienta gets into the wall coming off of 4, that's going to let Dudley have a little bit of breathing room with that battle for 3rd that was hot and heavy for a while there. Just a little oops for the 00 coming off of 4.
Absolutely. As you see Jared Hagedorn coming out of pit road in the number 2. Jordan Smith really has not come under a serious threat from Randy Bechtel even though Bechtel has closed right on in. As Hagedorn goes around in front of the two. Hagedorn with the slide, keeps it down. Truck does not stop. We stay green.
This is one of the tracks that iRacing is definitely going to need to take a look at, because for all intents and purposes, that should have been a caution.
Yeah, I would agree, especially with it being right in front of the leaders and right on pit road entry. I mean, if you want to go with the racing line theory, he's well off the racing line. There's really no reason for anyone else to be down there. So Hagedorn has a big moment, saves the car just in front of them. A battle for the 11th position is Johnny Rapp trying to hold off Dale Elan Jr. in the number 76. Now, Elan, we saw hard at the wall earlier tonight, has not really shown any effects in that number 6, just gliding right now on that outside line.
Yeah, absolutely. As this just in, Lee Norton has put the 85 on the hauler.
It's unfortunate. He had such a good run and restarted this race inside of the top 5. We have hit the century mark here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Jordan Smith under a lot of pressure right now from Randy Bechtel. The battle between Dudley and Pienta has simmered out, but still great racing with 34 laps to go and a pit stop still to be made here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll bring you all the way to the checkered flag when we return back right after this.
Bechtel's in.
We welcome you back here to round number 4 here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series. You just saw the pass for the lead. An immediate response by Jordan Smith was to come into pit road. Randy Bechtel responding to the 24's peel off. He has come into pit road. Robert Dudley as well in pit road. This will leave the 9 of Stephen Holmes out in front here in the race lead with Bechtel and Dudley in. Scott Tompkins right now is going to be running in the second position once he gets around Bechtel and Dudley here on pit exit. And we'll see where Jordan Smith comes out. There's Randy Bechtel coming out of turn number 2 on the apron. There's the white number 24 of Jordan Smith. And it's going to be Bechtel maintaining the race lead. So a great decision by Bechtel to immediately come in and cover off that 24 has given him a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking almost a second to the good inside the pit stall for Bechtel. 14 flat to a 15 flat for Bechtel to Jordan Smith, as so far as Stephen Holmes brings it down pit side. Scotty Tompkins in the 25 was trying to get his lap back the hard way, was able to do so, but he still has to make his money stop. That's going to hand the effective race lead back over to the 51 of Bechtel.
Yep, Scott Tompkins on the lead lap right now, but Tony, you're right, as you said, he is going to have to make his pit stop. So Bechtel now in the race lead, and the 24 stuck with the 10 of Dustin Lamb in front of him down the front straightaway. Tompkins in a battle with Evan Pienta, as Pienta has completely lost Robert Dudley, who's now trying to chase down Chase Barry, no pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely. As those guys were in lockstep as far as the pit stop goes. 14.7s for both, 39-second flat, cone to cone for each one, as Barry and Dudley just slugging it out right now. As Evan Pienta right now 2 seconds to the good over this battle for fourth.
Pienta came in on lap 103. We'll bring the graphic up right now as to when these guys came into pit road. They all came into pit road within 3 laps of each other. Chase Barry came in at 102. Smith and Pienta on 103. Bechtel and Dudley on 104. They all came in back on lap 71 for the caution flag stop. And only 2 of those here tonight, as Dudley trying to work his way around Chase Barry because he knows he has a gap to make up, as this little gaggle of cars here right outside, right just inside the top 10. Chandler Summers trying to get around Johnny Rapp to get into the 9th position. He's going to try to use the 8 of Holly as a pick, and it looks as though he is going to do so. So the drivers who finished 1 and 2 at Daytona, the season opener, having a very solid run here tonight at Homestead.
Yeah, and you wouldn't expect that considering how differently these tracks race. You know, Daytona is basically just keep your foot to the floor, put a cinder block on the accelerator pedal and just steer the damn thing. Whereas here, you really have to finesse it, especially with a 6-mile-an-hour wind. Make that 8-mile-an-hour wind in the middle of 3 and 4, which would explain why everybody's been having so much trouble on the exit of 4, because they're catching that crosswind in the middle of 3 and 4. It's really unsettling the trucks.
Dale Elan Jr., you just saw in the background there, makes his way up into the top 10. So Elan getting around Johnny Rapp. Cody Levitt trying to hold Brandon Ayers off right now, as Scott Stotler starts to work his way back up towards that group. And for Levitt, I must say, still 1-1, about a quarter of the way through the second period.
Oof. Chase Barry with a big move coming down the front straightaway, almost got into the back of Tommy Cannon's 47, wounded 47. Big move, big wiggle, and that let Robert Dudley kind of close back in on him, as Dudley had slipped up in the middle of 3 and 4 that last lap. But these guys are just slugging it out right now, as we've got 112 laps of 134 in the books.
That's these two both losing ground to Evan Pienta. That gap is up to 2.5 seconds. It was about 2.1. It's up to 2.5 now, as Dudley is going to desperately look to get around that 1. He knows his truck is faster than the 1. He wants to try to exploit that as much as he can, as we see the 5 of Scott Stotler trying to get that 7th position away from Cody Levitt. Scott Tompkins is there as well. Again, Tompkins a lap down. He has made his pit stop on lap 107. Did the 25, so he is on the freshest tires out of anyone on the racetrack right now that has a competitive mode to them. It's just about lost it coming out of turn 2 there. Did the 25. The 5 of Stotler looks under Levitt coming out of turn 2, and that 5 looking very racy on the inside here tonight. Levitt trying to hold that truck on the outside. Can't quite do it coming out of turn 4. Stotler has the position, but he's not going to be able to slide up in front of him.
Meanwhile, Robert Dudley has been able to get a nose out front of Chase Berry as they came up on the lap truck. That is the 80 of Ellis Thomas, who had trouble real early on in this race and spent a ton of time on pit road, as now Dudley has been clear of Chase Berry, now sets his sights on trying to reel in the 00 of Evan Pienta, as that was big.
Yep, had a big slide there, and now unfortunately he's going to kill all of his momentum. That's going to allow the one back to the outside. Fortunately for Dudley, has the nose out in front, so he does have a little bit of an advantage on that one, but here comes Barry's advantage, being on the outside of turn number 2. Gets the slingshot down the back straightaway and might be able to make the pass stick this time.
Well, the thing is, he's got to keep Dudley pinched down coming off of 4, as Dudley able to get a good acceleration off of 4. There's still a drag race, a little bit of a wiggle for the 49 again, still side by side through 1 and 2. This is your battle for 4th place. It's Dudley on the low side, Barry on the high side. Still no quarter asked for, no quarter given, as these guys are running clean and green as we're closing in. We're inside 20 to go.
Yep, and these two are just hemorrhaging time right now to the 00. So unless a caution comes out here, the podium positions are pretty well locked down and set, as these guys are just now falling outside of 3.5 seconds beyond the back bumper of Evan Pienta, as they still continue to battle side by side. Behind them, Scott Stotler has gotten around Cody Levitt to take over that 7th position. A little bit of a battle right now for Chandler Summers. I think Jordan Smith has had a problem, because that gap was 0.6 of a second a moment ago. It's now up over 2 seconds.
Yeah, Smith definitely had some problems there. You can see a little bit of a crinkle on that right front fender. It looks like he may have brushed the safer barrier going into one of the corners. But still holding down a tight position, as Evan Pienta gaining a little bit on him, but not much.
Good news for Jordan Smith tonight is that he has clinched most laps led, so he will get that bonus point here tonight in that number 24. So even with the 2nd place finish, leading a lap and leading the most laps, he'll get a couple of bonus points out of it. Will the number 24 of Jordan Smith. Johnny Rapp battling with Wesley Whitfield, this for the 12th position, as Whitfield, nice little run on the outside there, trying to get around the 76, and we've seen this a lot here tonight on side-by-side racing and multiple laps doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to love the way that Homestead-Miami plays out. It's a multi-group racetrack. You can make passes down low, you can make passes up high, you can defend down low, you can defend up high. The biggest problem these guys are having is that crosswind on the exit of 4 is really causing havoc on some of these guys, though.
And you just saw Chandler Summers take a slide coming out of turn 4. That has brought the 9 of Stephen Holmes right to the back bumper of that number 15. This is a battle for the 9th position between the 15 and the 9. And right now, like I said, the podium positions are pretty much set. Robert Dudley has gotten around Chase Berry and now currently sits 3.5 seconds behind Evan Pienta and closing slightly on the 00, but he's going to need a lot more if he wants to get up to the front of this field and try to fight for that podium position. Levitt, Summers, and Holmes right now in a three-way battle for the 8th position. This is your closest battle on track.
Yeah, absolutely. You take a look at Dudley to Pienta, it was half a tenth the last lap as we are 12 to go this time across the stripe. Randy Bechtel continues to show the way. Jordan Smith sits in second, almost 3 seconds back. Evan Pienta is another 1.5 seconds back off of him. And Robert Dudley is over 3 seconds back off of Pienta, with Chase Berry 1.5 seconds off of him to round out the top 5. So this field's starting to get a little strung out, except for this battle for 8th place, as Summers, Levitt, and Holmes just throwing haymakers at each other right now.
Summers finally takes over that position. So the 15 of Summers up into the 8th position. Stephen Holmes now goes to the inside of Cody Levitt. Levitt trying to get a top 10 here tonight, and unless he falls another position, he will get it. He's got about 4 seconds back to Dale Eland in 11th position. Holmes really not done putting the pressure on. He wants to get up into that 8th position, try to get around Chandler Summers.
Absolutely. I'm keeping an eye on that battle for the final spot of the podium. Fastest lap, last lap, Robert Dudley in 4th place with a 34.68. Evan Pienta just did a 34.9. So identical times for Pienta and Dudley that last lap.
They both ran a 34.94 that last time around, but the lap before, Robert Dudley was the fastest truck on track, and it wasn't even close. Robert Dudley put down as a 34.68. As you had mentioned, the next closest truck was Bechtel, who ran a 34.97. He was 3/10 quicker than the leader, about a 1/2 second better than Evan Pienta. As we'll take a look at the lap time history, 3/10 second better than Pienta 2 laps ago, and he just pulled back another 2/10. He's still going to need to take out mammoth-sized chunks if he wants to get up to Pienta here with 9 laps to go, or hope that Pienta can start taking even more chunks out of Jordan Smith to be able to make that a battle to help Dudley up, possibly get second.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Smith seems to be struggling right now. He smacked the wall pretty good, as Pienta was over 2 seconds back. Now only just over 8/10, as again, fastest truck on track, Robert Dudley in 4th place, as he has the 25 of Scotty Tompkins right behind him.
Tompkins, the only truck faster than him, but again, not on the lead lap, is the 25 of Tompkins. And you saw down there on the apron, that was the 81 of Chris Smith, back out onto the racetrack after spending 34.5 minutes on pit road. So he will see the end of this race. Pienta really not really closing in all that much on Jordan Smith, but Robert Dudley, unfortunately for Dudley, spent too much time battling with Chase Berry. He's just not going to have enough time to get up to the 00 in 7 laps.
He's got to hope for big problems for Pienta and Smith in order to get there. But right now, he's working with the 25 of Scott Tompkins. That was a big wiggle coming off the floor.
Yeah, and that one might seal the deal there with 6 laps to go. Closest battle on track is still with Chandler Summers. He's now battling with Scott Stotler for the 7th spot. Stephen Holmes, there's Holmes, about 7/10 off of Chandler Summers. Pienta getting a little bit closer now to Jordan Smith in that number 24, has gotten to around a 1/2 second behind Smith. And Smith doing everything he can to try to just run these last 5 laps out and not get into too much competition.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a decent gap back to Evan Pienta from Smith, about a 3 truck length, 4 truck length lead. And Pienta, is hungry to get one up on the podium, as Smith got one robbed from him last week, as he was running up towards the front and got just nerfed going into 3 on a restart. Meanwhile, Randy Bechtel has just flat checked out 4 seconds to the good over this battle for second between Smith and Pienta. And Robert Dudley has done it again. 3/10 he's shaved off, but he's running out of time as we're 4 laps to go with Bechtel still showing the way.
Another battle that's running out of time right now as Chandler Summers has gotten as close as he's been all race long to Scott Stotler. Again, for the 7th position is this battle. Randy Bechtel, however, your race leader at the moment, and the defending series champion, the reigning defending series champion, looking to take his first win of the season in 4 rounds. He did the same thing last year. It took right around 4 or 5 races before he won, went on a dry spell before really dominating the second half of the season. Randy Bechtel, almost a carbon copy of last season. And hey, why not? You won the championship last year. You may as well do it again.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. As we are popsicle sticks in the air. Bechtel, Smith, and Pienta, as Pienta is starting to fill the rearview mirror of Jordan Smith's number 24 more and more. And again, Robert Dudley second fastest lap. The only one faster than him that last lap was your race leader, Randy Bechtel, as it looks like the rails have fallen off for the 49.
Yeah, I think he's realized that unfortunately he's not going to be able to make it. But as we begin the final lap, Randy Bechtel, reigning defending series champion, did not have a good run at Daytona, was mediocre at Kentucky in round number 2. Round 3, we saw him back to his old self, but an incident between him and Jeff Pogo set him back. Did not get the finish he deserved last week. Tonight he will, however, get that finish as coming off of turn number 4. The 51 of Randy Bechtel takes his first race win of the season as he crosses the line first. Round number 4 at Homestead goes to Randy Bechtel.
Jordan Smith able to hang on to a hard-charging Evan Pienta for second place. Robert Dudley coming home in 4th. Chase Berry crosses the line in 5th. Brandon Ayers, Scott Stotler, Chandler Summers, Steve Holmes, and Cody Levitt rounding out your top 10.
And that is your top 10 here tonight. And Randy Bechtel, again, comes away with a big win here tonight. Jordan Smith, lucky to finish second, ran out of laps, did Evan Pienta, who finished third. As all of these guys, an incredible race here tonight. And it took 4 weeks, but we finally got a normal race from these guys.
I was wondering what was going to happen in the final lap, but I got to say, it's good to see a race finish kind of subdued as we just saw.
There's no wild green-white checker. There's no controversy, just a straight-up finish here to a race. And you know it's something when we're happy about just a straight-up normal finish as the 51 of Randy Bechtel stops right at the start-finish line. We will get to these guys in a second. As a matter of fact, Tony, you are with our race winner right now.
Randy Bechtel, you had one robbed from you last week. You were able to hang on for the victory this week. Congratulations on your first win of the new season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That was a long green run. I'm out of breath a little bit.
And that was something we kind of were expecting here at Homestead-Miami. It's notorious, especially with you guys, for long green flag runs. How difficult is this track to get onto and off of pit road at speed?
Oh, well, you definitely got to practice a lot, which I did. It's definitely not easy, that transition down into 4 on the apron. I've seen a lot of smoke there, so I'm assuming there was a lot of issues on and off pit road. But
well, it seemed like everybody was having problems on the exit of 4 with that crosswind that you guys were hitting going through there. But just congratulations on the victory. Talk us through the battle you were having with Jordan Smith. You were fighting with him. during that second to the last foyer before the last stop, and you saw him go down pit road. Was it an immediate yes, I'm going, or did you think he could stay out a couple more laps?
Well, the green flag floor, I was what 2 seconds or so behind him, and I pitted 2 laps later than him, and he was a good 6, 7 seconds ahead of me. So I knew I had to go in immediately, and I figured since he was letting me go, he was going to immediately pit. Which, of course, next time around I came in, and luckily enough, I beat him out, which that was probably the deal breaker right there.
Yeah, you were almost a full second to the good as far as in box time over him, which definitely helped your cause there. But moving forward, the series goes to Gateway next week. Your thoughts going to the egg-shaped thing that is Gateway Motorsports Park?
I haven't raced there before, but did some practice, and it should be pretty fun. I like it a lot. Should be an interesting race. I definitely see long green flag runs again.
All right. Well, Randy, again, congratulations on the victory here tonight at Homestead-Miami. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank Eric and Jeff Pogo for putting on the league. They do a great job. You guys for doing the broadcasts. It's always fun rewatching them hour or so after we're done. And my teammates Chase Berry and Ryan Jones, who unfortunately couldn't race tonight for reasons. My spotter Justin Wilson for spotting for all of us for the team, and all the other associates we got Brandon Ayers, Chandler Summers, Johnny Rapp. I believe that's it.
All right. Well, Randy, took you a couple races to get one under your belt last season. Took you a couple races to get one under your belt this season. Best of luck to you in the rest of the season. Hopefully, you're going to be able to successfully defend your series championship.
Hopefully I can. Thank you, guys.
So that was Randy Bechtel, your race winner here. In just a moment, we'll be getting Jordan Smith in here. I think we have him right now, actually. Jordan, you had a solid run here tonight. Led a lot of laps, led the most laps from the beginning of this race. But first, talk us through that final pit stop. You let Randy go on racetrack, came into pit immediately, tried to get the undercut. He covered you off and was able to get back out in front of you. What do you think went wrong on that stop that got you out behind him?
I honestly have no idea. Kind of like Lewis Hamilton, kind of scratching my head. Really don't know what happened. Credit to him. I mean, it was between really him and Scott Tompkins really and me for the win, I felt like. But no, like you said, I came in. I let him by because I wanted to kind of get the jump on him, and I came in. And I thought that with the old newer tires, I'd be able to really kind of pull away on him about a second or two, kind of like I did the first pit stop, green flag pit stop. But it just didn't happen, and he got in front of me, and I don't know if it was just dirty air or what, but I got really tight as the run went on and used up a lot more tire than I had when I was leading, and that was really all she wrote.
Did you do you think you had enough tire left to maybe try to defend from Evan Pienta if there were, say, 5 more laps left in this race?
I really don't know. I think I would have been okay. I think him and I were kind of at the same point with our tires. They were both getting worn, but I know that Robert was catching on us pretty quick, and I think at the end I just really didn't have anything for Randy. All credit to him because I feel like that first green flag run I saved better than him, and then we were kind of neutral the second run. But then the third run, he really did a good job of saving tires more than I did. So, yeah, big credit to him.
Now, we had highlighted it at the beginning of the race, and throughout this season, really, we've highlighted it that it's really you and Evan that would have great short run cars, and then as the run went on, you kind of fell off and you just kind of dropped completely out. You did not do that here tonight, and even at Kentucky, you did a very good job at holding on to your tires. What do you think has maybe changed? Do you think it was just the change from the Cup car to the truck, or did you try to work on something over the off season to help with tire conservation?
I think the change from the Cup car to the truck helped with some of the corner speeds. You're not really carrying as much speed into the corner, so it's a little easier to save tires that way. But I know Evan and I put in a lot of work each week just to try to save tire each track. Like here at Homestead, we tried to run the top and really, I thought, did well on the first run with that, but then we didn't realize kind of the later runs that we needed to get towards the bottom. And I think we kind of ate our tires up a lot because we were just so used to running the top. So definitely a lot more to practice for Gateway. But yeah, we've really been trying to put the work in so we can save our tires a little bit better.
Yeah, but you just mentioned Gateway. What are your thoughts going into the flat oval at Worldwide Tech Raceway at Gateway next week?
I'm really excited. I feel like I had a pretty good truck at Milwaukee until I got into the fence. I know Randy's going to be strong, like he always is. Same with Chase and Evan and Pogo when he comes back. But I'm excited. I think it'll race kind of similarly to Milwaukee, but the two different corners, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that'd be very interesting because it's kind of like a flat Darlington. So it'll be pretty fun.
All right, anybody you want to thank before we let you go here tonight?
Definitely got to thank Evan talking with me throughout the race, helping me save tires this whole week, and y'all guys for putting on a great broadcast every week.
All right, there's your second place finisher tonight, Jordan Smith. Bud, congratulations.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
So that was your second place finisher here tonight, Jordan Smith. And Tony should be with our third place finisher here tonight, Evan Pienta.
Evan Pienta, we were talking last season all night or all season long about how you had a great short run car. Tonight you showed that you had a great long run truck. Congratulations on the podium, sir.
Thank you. Second week in a row I get to talk to you guys. I mean, this is just like Kentucky. I was not excited for Homestead. It is not my favorite mile and a half, and I was not confident really the entire way. I just knew that I had to depend on my teammate once again, Jordan, there to help me with tire saving. He gave me some helpful pointers there. I felt like the first run I wrecked my qualifying lap, so I didn't have a good lap. I had to depend on my wall ride first lap, and was able to pick my way through the field. But that first run, I felt like I was really, really fast, and it boosted my confidence for the rest of the race. But then after that first green flag stop, I had realized that I was pushing my tires as much as I was last season, like normal, and I realized I was going to get killed on the long run. So fortunately, that caution came out before we had to pit again, and was able to learn from that. And even then, I still struggled on that third run. And going to the final run, we realized that as the race went on, the top started to work less and less, and it was the bottom was favored. And as that final run, after just to pit early to get the fuel and tires, the final set of tires, I realized how fast I could actually be on that inside, and was able to roll it. Just realizing the entire first two runs what I was doing wrong, and wish I could have figured that out a couple laps earlier, and was hopefully be able to get up to those top two, because Randy and Jordan were the glass of the field today.
Well, you were starting to reel in Jordan Smith hand over fist in the closing laps of this thing. Do you think you could have had him if the race had then been maybe another 10 laps?
I mean, I might have had a shot. I looked and I was running like second quickest lap times of the top 10. But I probably could have caught him. It would have been close. I wouldn't have dumped him or raced him really hard for it if he made a mistake, or if he would have let me by just because of how slow his tires were when he killed him trying to keep up with Randy. I would have passed him, but I don't think I would have really fought hard for it. But I do want to give credit to the fourth place finisher, Robert Dudley, for he was great to battle with. It was good to see him up there. I was surprised when I would see him catching. He was a master at saving tires. Just was started on the in the back of the field, so he was a leg behind everybody. but I got to give credit to him because that last run, I was more focused on if he was going to catch me than trying to pass Jordan there. So, big credit to him for sticking it with us.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about a guy that was less than 7 days out from neck surgery, able to put a top 5 finish together. But Evan, moving forward, we go to Worldwide Tech next week at Gateway. Your thoughts going into that track?
Well, it races like a short track. You know me on short track, so I obviously look forward to that. I like this. I like Gateway a lot more than Milwaukee. I like how you have the option to shift and the totally 2 different corners, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's all about kind of getting a rhythm there, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a really exciting race, and I look forward to racing with Randy and all those guys again.
All right, Evan, again, congratulations on the podium tonight. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go celebrate with your team?
Of course, you guys for putting the broadcast on. Eric and Jeff for USRA and all they do for putting this league on. I know we're consistently getting big fields, which is great to see. Fanic Robotics, Automatic Handling, Peak, Hot Wheels, my teammate Jordan Smith, and my family.
All right, Evan Pienta, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week at Gateway.
All right, so that was your third place finisher here tonight, Evan Pienta. And Tony, a fairly straightforward race here tonight. Not too much drama. Of course, we had the first lap incident and then the one right around halfway that brought the field back together. But a very solid night of racing here, no matter how you slice it at Homestead. Just a great night.
Long runs of clean and green, which you come to expect with these guys in the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series. And there wasn't any drama coming towards, the checkers, which was good to see. We were kind of due for a subdued finish, shall we say. But, these guys just put on one hell of a show all night long, knowing that they had to save tires. The guys that we saw struggle last season to save tires were able to stay up front most of the night. They were able to do what they needed to do to put those trucks into position to win. It's still kind of heartbreaking for the 49, knowing that he had the fastest truck on track for the most part of that final run, just ran out of time. But, moving forward to Gateway, that's sure to be a barn burner. As Evan said, it races like a short track, even though it's a mile and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be a very fun night when we head just outside of St. Louis next week for round number 5 of this 18-round season. But we will go to the results right now here for tonight's race. Randy Bechtel takes his first win of the season here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Jordan Smith and Evan Pienta, you've heard from them, round out the podium positions. Robert Dudley, as Tony had mentioned, less than a week off of back surgery, comes home with an absolutely incredible finish here tonight, finishing in the 4th position. Chase Barry comes home in 5th. Brandon Ayers with his best race of the season so far, finishing in 6th. Scott Stotler and Chandler Summers with their best race since the last time we were in the state of Florida at Daytona, finishing 7th and 8th. Stephen Holmes and Cody Levitt rounding out the top 10, which, by the way, hold on one second. I'm believing it is 2-1 Montreal, just about heading into the second intermission.
It is.
Dale Elan, Johnny Rapp, Wesley Whitfield, Scott Tompkins, the first driver to finish not on the lead lap. And again, that one was kind of self-inflicted after the first round of green flag pit stops, did about 5 or 6 laps, and then came back down pit road for a reason that we did not catch. So that put him a lap down for the remainder of the evening. Mike Mraz comes home in the 15th position.
Jared Hagedorn hanging on for 16th. Anthony Reynolds in 17th. 18th going to Larry Poling. Mike March and Tommy Cannon rounding out your top 20. Nick Lamb in 21st. Eric Holly 22nd. 23rd goes to Lee Norton. Dustin Lamb in 24th. Chris Smith in 25th. Ellis Thomas in 26th. Jason Young in 27th. 28th goes to Joe Morganti. Justin Winters in 29th. Jason Ayrson in 30th. Jeff Price in 31st. And Zach Calloway did not start, so he gets scored as 32nd.
Yep, so that will be the results here for tonight's race, and that will effectively do it for us here tonight from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Coming up the remainder of this week here, well, to start this next week on ESPN, tomorrow night will be the season finale for the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. They will be in the Xfinity cars at Daytona. Give them about a month and a half, and they'll be back for the fall season, but the spring season set to wrap up here, that 20-week season about to crown a champion tomorrow night. The Medieval Racing League will come back on Sunday. They will be at Talladega Superspeedway in the 2013 Chevrolet SS at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Monday, it'll be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Pocono Raceway for round number 18 of that season at 8:20. And then for the first time on the channel, the UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series will be at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. The first time that the new track will be featured here on the network, and it is the UK Sim Racing MX5 Pro Series that will be bringing it to you at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. So that will do it for us here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. From my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you next week for round number 5 of the TNT Truck Series season from Gateway, and tomorrow night for the spring season finale for the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series from Daytona. Good night, everybody.